that I need my gut to be able to choose to be brave, to not thinking about do I look good, do I look perfect, do I say something good, but this is not always about you.
Please subscribe and turn on your notifications to stay tuned to the latest updates at The Powder Room Talk.
Hi, I'm JJ Liu. Welcome to The Powder Room with me and my girlfriends Viola Mananta and Regina Wijaya. The Powder Room is where it gets real, and today we're going to talk about how having a polished image is not vanity. I believe most of us deal with some form of insecurities and self-confidence on a daily basis. But how do we work on looking good, yet have a balance between understanding what is a polished image without moving into self-vanity? Today we have with us Mia Radjagukguk, who is the director and co-founder of Innergy Personality. It is a training consultant for communication skills, personal branding, and image branding. With 15 years of experience under her belt, Mia is a professional certified image coach and also a mother of two. She has great passions in helping women discover their personal branding and to live life more confidently. So without further ado, welcome to the Powder Room. Hi, Mia.
Hi.
Welcome to the Powder Room.
Thank
So
you.
good to have you here with us. Thank you so much for your time. And we're really excited to unpack today's topic with you.
Yes, thank you so much for being on the show with us
Thank you
today,
for
Mia.
having me,
I'm really excited to
Ladies.
learn from you today.
Oh,
Me too.
a little bit
Yes.
of pressure on Mia. So, ladies, I think for Lola, probably this is the first time you actually met with Mia, and then
Yes.
JJ we've met, I think, a few weeks ago. But for me, I've known Mia for years. Actually, I've known her husband first. Her husband knows my brother first.
I see.
Yeah, it's a long relationship between both of them. I think as a friend, they knew each other before. But I've known Mia as well as a professional because she used to help my company as well to do training for the staff. And she was really into personal branding, communication skills, image coaching, like how to look good, how to present yourself very well. So maybe Mia, you can tell us a bit on why you are into that topic, image, personal
Wow.
communication.
Okay.
Today we are having Boja's bestseller, the crispy porchetta, a classic pork belly stuffed with Filipino-style herbs, and the delicious Thai pomelo salad, a combination of fresh pomelo, watermelon, with grilled prawn in Thai dressing. On the side, we have a Dutch croquette, a homemade bitterballen stuffed with bacon. And not forgetting our dessert is chendol cake, made from pandan sponge cake and coconut milk pudding. Boja also paired their drink for our menu today with Sunny in Fluid, a creamy lychee drink that has coconut milk and aloe vera. And here is Boja Don Q, a fresh mix of ketondong juice with lemongrass syrup and kaffir lime leaves. Thank you, Boja, for this delicious spread.
Simple question, but very difficult to answer.
Is it a long story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, it's because I just want to share my experience, my life story. Because I was born as an introvert and a shy girl,
Oh.
and I always have a lack of confidence, actually.
Yeah.
But there is a moment I just realized that I have to build my confidence if I want to be someone.
Okay.
So it's not easy journey. It's a very difficult, and I know that I always fail, and I have to choose to manage my insecurity until now, actually. But I know that progress is more important than perfection, right? So back into
I love that.
Quotes. Another quote
Yes.
for us.
Yes.
We love quotes again.
so it was I think 2009 when I got a job interview as a general manager, but it turned out to be as an image consultant as well.
Okay.
So I never imagined that I will be as an image consultant, but I know that day my gut reminded me my desire that I have few years back, that I want to share my life story, my experience, how I manage my insecurities. So yes, I took that chance, and I know that, like, I need my gut.
Oh yeah.
Like every day to choose courage, to choose to be brave. Because it's not easy, and then I realized that all women, all ladies have the same insecurities, right? I have desire to share, not because of I'm perfect, but I know that journey as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, may I ask, what are some of the insecurities that you had that you are still managing? And maybe we all can share, like, what are the ones that you have, Regina and JJ and me? And
JJ.
I mean, are these securities that you have since childhood, or are these securities that you actually develop maybe only in your adulthood? Can you share some of that?
Yeah, actually, I have a lot of many insecurities. I have fear of talking to people.
Oh my God, and she is a trainer. That's why it
that's why
sounds
I
very
have to
unbelievable.
choose. Yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot just say, hi, how are you? What's your name? To a new person that I've met before, and then I have also insecurities. I have fear to having arguments. Yeah, and I fear of not being listened. Yeah, I think that's
Until now,
insecurities.
even that after you've trained, I don't know how many companies and how many people, even online nowadays,
yeah.
is that fear of speaking in public
Yes.
still grabs you every day?
Yeah, that's why before I teach or I share in front of people, I always have my me time. In a toilet, about 15 minutes or 10 minutes, I have to choose to be brave, and I have to choose my mindset that I'm talking to myself that Mia, this is not about you. This is not always about you. You have a purpose, and your purpose is bigger than you.
That's great. That's so great.
Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
it amazed me, like you have that kind of fear, and yet you still going through that every day. You still choose to do your job.
Yeah.
Loving your job, I believe.
Yes.
If not, you will not stay for 15 years as, as a trainer, and have to do that on daily basis. Every time you have to do training.
Yeah.
And it's shocking, because some people think that after a while you will get into habit, right? That it's just so easy for me to just talk in public. We wish we are, but it amazed me that even after that you still love your job, even you have to battling that on a daily basis.
That's why I also always said to myself that I need my gut to be able to choose to be brave, to not thinking about, do I look good, do I look perfect, do I say something good. But this is not always about you. This is about your participants. This is about your message to them. This is about their life.
Wow. So your heart for them,
It's bigger
and
than
it's bigger than your fear. It's bigger than your insecurities.
Yeah.
I would like to say that in the arena of physical, like, insecurities, or in terms of how I looked, I have been very blessed ever since I was young. I never had personal issues. Like the way I look has never haunted me. Even when I gained like 25 pounds in university, because it was my first time, living in winter. And if everyone knows, I love eating, and that combination is not good, and that's how usually in America people joke like, oh, you gain this thing called freshman 15, which is every freshman gains 15 pounds, but I kind of outdid everyone and I gained 25 pounds on a 5 foot tall frame, and so I went from this. I still remembered a friend one day. While I was waiting for the T, which is like the subway in Boston, and he was much older than us, and he said like, that it was a sophomore year, and he one day walked up to me and my other best friend, and he's like, so I saw the two of you from afar, and I haven't seen you girls for a while, but it seemed like from freshman year to sophomore year, your faces just went sideways.
That's so mean to
that
say that.
and why I'm bringing up the story is when he actually mentioned that, I thought it was so amusing. And I was like, really? So like, was my face like he's like, yeah, it was like this small, like you just became a cake. I was like, oh, right. And actually, in
I would have died inside. How did you not?
And that's why I was like, as you were sharing, I said like it's very rare, and I'm thankful that I found that amusing, and I poke fun at myself a lot for my meanie height, but I never saw it as like an insecurity, like I'm next to my tall glamazon friend like Viola, but it was more like, oh, life would be so good if I was tall like her. I don't have to stand on a stool and climb on a stool to get things. Or like ask for help when I'm traveling and I can't get my cabin bag, right? It's just so inconvenient. But when I think about insecurities other than outside, it's a lot more about the inner work. Yeah. Like yourself, I'm an extreme introvert. I was always extremely shy. And I know it doesn't look like it now, but I really was that kid. Like even ever since I found my report card from kindergarten, and I thought since I was quite a good kid academically, I thought kindergarten, it should be straight A's. No, I actually kind of flunked kindergarten because I saw a report card and it marked, the teacher wrote to my parents, and I think it was a D for socializing. Because they would say, your daughter, you need to pay attention to your daughter because she does not like to play with other kids. So when I first moved to JIS, that was the first time I was actually really challenged in my life. I was like, ooh, okay, so I have to move around classrooms and my classmates change every class. Oh my God, that's a lot of people to deal with, And how did I actually overcome that insecurity was quite similar to what you said, because one day I realized I really liked to sing. And I really wanted to learn how to sing for the sake of loving, that passion. But I remembered the first time I auditioned to represent the school as a 9th grade. And so I signed up, I put my name, and it was a long waiting list because only eight students get selected at JIS to represent the school, and it's only 2 person for each part. So I was auditioning for soprano. By the time it was my name, when the door opened, I ran. I ran so fast from the 2nd floor, and I ran to the front, and my driver was like, what's going on? I was like, let's go home now. Let's go. Okay, we'll go home. What happened? Nothing. I couldn't tell him, but I was shocked. The next day I went to school, and the choir teacher was like, I saw you. Like, why didn't you come in? You ran really fast. And that was my shyness. I got so terrified of the fact that I had to audition in front of 4 teachers. But I really wanted to sing. My best friend's mom was the one that first taught me how to sing, and she was a wonderful soprano. She came from the best, kind of like the Juilliard of Japan, right? And so she taught me, and from that day on sophomore year, I started auditioning, and she sat in the room to calm my nerves, and it made me think about, because I knew I wanted to use my voice. I wanted to use my voice, and she believed in me that I could sing. And that's how I overcame. And the first audition, I made the team. But thereafter, it wasn't like, oh, you know, it's no longer terrifying. It was still a process for me to overcome the shyness. But I knew I wanted to use my voice. And now that, because of that training, because I really wanted it, that goal, like I really wanted it, and so I forced myself to overcome that situation. And that made me think, like, as I grew older, using my voice also meant, you know, no longer singing, but actually, like right now, speaking and being comfortable with myself in front of the camera, because I want to use my voice for something else now. I wanted, you know, I wanted to share things with people, and I wanted to, you know, present my thoughts. I don't like walking into a situation where I'm not prepared. That's when I realized, like, it makes me feel insecure.
So you know how to learn to manage that,
Yes,
right?
that's how I
Actually,
manage.
you're learning that.
Preparing,
preparing.
mentally preparing,
Yes.
even writing things down.
Writing things down. And
Yes.
so, because I was also raised in a way where my mother would always say, it doesn't matter if your preparation is not used. You should always prepare. It's not like 100%. She's like always like, you know, 110%, 200%. You know, she was that kind of mom. And I thought that was, you know, now in hindsight, one of the best advice she has ever given me, because by over preparing, and I was always ready for any unexpected situations.
Yeah, that's true.
It made me walk into a room confidently being able to use my voice. And I actually thought, what do you guys think? Because, like, you know, there's that I feel good, and it also makes me want to look good. Do you feel that?
I actually had insecurities ever since I can think. Like, I just always felt insecure about. Everyone thought I was a boy because my mom always cut my hair really short, so that kind of gave me insecurities. And then I developed this weird thing about my nose. I think because one day I was at my friend's birthday party, and then there was another girl, and she commented how big my nose was, and ever since then, that was it. That was my biggest insecurity, how big my nose was. When I would walk around anywhere, like, the only thing I was concerned was, are people looking at my nose and how big it is? Are they talking about it? I felt like people were looking at me, staring and thinking how big her nose is. Like, it was so horrible. And I also, looking back, I realized a lot of other children or teenagers might have said something to me out of their envy that would just hurt me. But back then I just all took it personal. I didn't realize they were just projecting their own hurt and their own issues. So I was constantly thinking of myself like looking weird, not being, you know, like just not feeling confident about myself. And that took me a long time to overcome, and it was like a real big issue until I actually realized I was actually good looking.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
But then the next big insecurity actually came when after I had given birth to the first child, and the second one even more. I gained 20 kilo in my first pregnancy, I gained 25 kilo in my second. And after the second, I tell you, like, it was really hard to overcome, like to just get back into shape. And I just looked at myself in the mirror, and I just couldn't recognize myself. And I remember after giving birth for the first time, I went to an event in like one of the malls here, and it was like a breast cancer event. And I joined my friend, and I had my like 1-month-old baby with me. And I remember there was like this girl walking up to me saying, "Hey, Lola, right? I hardly recognized you. You were so skinny before." It was so painful. It was so painful. And I was shocked how insensitive someone could be to a woman who just gave birth. Yes. Obviously, I was holding my 1-month-old baby. And it added to the insecurities, obviously. And also, I think it happens to a lot of women after they give birth. Everything has changed. Like, you look at yourself in the mirror and you have like this flabby tummy that still, it takes some time to get back, if it ever. And then everything has changed. Down there, here because you're breastfeeding, like it stretches your breasts, like they become saggy, and you got stretch marks from the pregnancy, and it feels awful.
Yeah.
And it made me feel really insecure. It even made me feel unsexy, you know? Like, how can my husband still look at me?
Did you feel like you lost control of your body shape, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because I was always so concerned with it. I was probably over concerned with it my whole life. I really had like I had a very unhealthy relationship with my own body. Looking back, I look at pictures and I'm like, oh my God, I look great. And I never felt great. I never did. I was never there. It was never good enough. And then after giving birth, it was just like impossible. And it was making me feel all over insecure again about different things this time. But it was hard. It was really hard.
Yeah.
I think Mia surely can relate as
It happened to me also when I gave birth in my first daughter, and then I go to church. I went to church after 3 months, and then there was a girl came to me. Hi, Kak Mia, how are you? Yeah, I'm good. Oh, are you? Why you are so still fat? Oh, thank you.
Can I run away?
Because I think she thinks that I'm pregnant, but actually I just gave birth 3 months.
And she thought it was okay to comment on that.
Yeah.
It's surprising that sometimes the comment that we give to other people will bring them down so much, in a way, because maybe you don't realize it, or maybe they realize. Sometimes I really wonder whether those people realize on what they say. But it hurts both of you for sure, and especially like for Lola, who has been who already had an issue with your body image for the longest time, right? It doesn't help you for sure at that time. Body image issue is always my issue since I was a childhood. I think maybe same with Lola. When I was a kid, I always think I was pretty because people call me princess, you know, my cousins, my auntie, my uncle. Then only when I started in primary, I realized that my school friends called me Jumbo, because they think I'm fat. So Jumbo is fat, right? And then I started to find it difficult to look for clothes. Those days are not like now for kids.
Yeah.
Nowadays, kids can find any kind of clothes, beautiful, pretty one. At those times, I think I was dressed in like a short legging and, you know, just a very big t-shirt and a very big glasses, and it was so ugly. If you look at your picture before, you said it was great. Me, no, I look at this like I was ugly. And it started the whole battle of a self-image confidence until I was in high school, college, even until I went to office, started working. And you three of you are introverts. I am extrovert. So for me, public speaking has never been an issue for me because I'm not afraid to speak in front of public. I'm very confident with my brain. I'm not confident with my body. So it has always been a long battle. When I was in college, I tried to cover that up with baggy pants, you know, baggy t-shirts, and try to ignore, and as if like, oh, I don't care what other people say about me. I love myself. I didn't.
So you
I deny it. It's in denial. It was in
Okay.
denial of thinking that, oh, I have to love myself. I think myself is okay. But I know every time I look in the mirror, I know I'm not okay. And it has always been an issue whenever I have a relationship with someone, whether it's best friends or whether it's with the guy. I always ask them a confirmation and affirmation. Like, are you sure you like me? I look ugly. Yeah, so for me, it's always a battle that I'm facing nowadays, even until now, but it's getting better. Thank God that is getting better. I think along with age and understanding myself better, how I look like, what works for me, what not work for me. So it's important as well, the question that I'm going to ask, like how do we all, like Mia, like you, Lola, manage that kind of insecurities, or JJ on daily basis, and how to learn to love and accept yourself with all the insecurities that we have, but we still have to face people every day. I still have to lead people, right? I still have to look good, but how do we manage that?
Yeah, for me, I think you have to choose, right? You have to make a decision to be brave or to be paralyzed with your insecurity. And sometimes most of us have to do that every day, every single day. So the key for me is the important things that acceptance, of course, acceptance, awareness of that you were created special, you were created uniquely, and you were created to have purpose, like what I said before, that your purpose is bigger than yourself. So you have to be aware of that. And then I think we have to aware that most of women, especially women, have a power, have a strength to influence, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I know that most women or many women have self-doubts that paralyzed them also. So we have to be aware of that. So the second one, I think acceptance of who we are, our strength, our weaknesses, our past, our family, our situation, and we have to know that our past should not define our future. And we have to forgive if we fail, because progress is more important. Progression is more important than perfection. I think we have to choose to be brave.
For me, I had the insecurities as a teenager, right, with my nose. And there was this one day when I got to meet this new friend, and she was the most beautiful girl I had ever seen, and she still is. If you're watching, you're the most beautiful woman I know. And one of the first things she ever said to me was, "Oh my God, you have such a beautiful nose."
Oh, it's the opposite of what people told you that time.
Well, what one person
One
told me
person, actually.
as a child.
Yeah,
it was this one person at a birthday party as a child, right? And it took one person
Change that.
who changed that
your mind,
to change this perception.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What? My nose?" She's like, "Yeah, I wish I had a nose like you. Look at my nose." And she had like this really cute little pointy nose. I'm like, "I would die for your nose." Right?
Nose comparison.
She has been my best friend ever since. Maybe because of those things, like she would speak confidence into me in places where I had just had believed lies because of what other people said. They were envious, and that really changed something for me. So this is the power that we have as friends. We can tell people the truth about, we can compliment people. And so I make it one of my goals to actually tell people what I like about them, because it might really mean something to them, even though, why do that, right? Why meet someone that you just met and you tell them, "Oh, I really like your cheekbones, I love your cheekbones, they're so beautiful."
And
or
it's probably the only thing that they hate also.
Maybe it's the only thing. But if it's honest and you really see it, I'm like, "Oh, I love your pinky skin, like you're radiant, like whatever. Like, oh, I love your round face shape.
Yeah.
Or I like your puffy cheeks. I wish I had more puffy cheeks." Like those kind of things. It can really change perception of themselves for some people. And maybe you don't know what kind of influence your tongue has, your words that you speak on the people around you. But you have actually the influence to make them feel horrible about themselves or insecure, or to make them feel good and maybe heal something that they were believing about themselves that it wasn't true. And that's what my friend did for me.
But what about after the story that you said after you gave birth? Because I believe a lot of women may be experiencing what Lola and Mia has experienced before. How do you love yourself after you gave birth? Because I've had a lot of friends who are still struggling until this day to love their body after they gave birth.
Yeah, it took me a while, to be honest. It took me a really long time to accept that I now look different and that I have a feminine body, even because it's not something that we see on TV that's celebrated. Feminine curves are hardly ever celebrated, even though
That's true.
even though that's how we're made, right?
Yes.
Like we do have feminine curves. And for a long time, looking into the mirror and not seeing like a skinny model shape was unacceptable for me. But after having given birth to 2 wonderful children, I get more curves. I just have like bigger hips, you know, like, and it's really, like, I still haven't got to my weight before, but something in me changed over the years, where I now look in the mirror and I see a woman that has given birth to 2 children. I've done that miracle.
Yeah.
And I do work out, I take care of my body, and it's not like it happens overnight magically. I mean, I do work on myself. I will never look like I looked before, and that's okay. You know, I had to learn to like let go of that expectation. And I also had to learn that the picture in my head that I had before of how someone has to look like, or how I have to look like, was really crooked. I look back at the pictures now that I had from before I gave birth, and I see this overly skinny woman that didn't look healthy. I did not look healthy. I was too skinny, but that was my ideal back then.
Yeah.
That was my ideal,
Yeah.
but I was so skinny. It wasn't actually. It might have been beautiful on a catwalk, and you could have put all clothes on me, and they would hang properly. I could wear all the kind of clothes that I want, every style, and it would work. And now it doesn't. And you know what? I realized that one day I'm like, I don't have to fit into all these clothes. I don't have to be able to wear every style.
Yeah.
I'm not a clothes hanger, and I'm not a catwalk model. They actually have to look like that so the clothes look good on them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the designers would have a really hard time designing for women with curves, which, anyone up for the challenge, you know?
Yes.
So I really had to change my mindset. And now I look in the mirror and I actually feel good about myself, even though, I have cellulite, I have stretch marks. My breasts have breastfed 2 babies, and now they don't look like they looked before. And you know what? I'm really proud I did.
Yeah.
And my husband's amazing, actually. He has always cherished me and is always grateful. And I know he's not looking for something else. You know what? You know what I mean? Like, my husband is not someone who says, "Oh, you look better before. You're not attractive anymore." And if you have a man like that, then probably your man needs to work on himself, because that's really not okay, I think.
Yeah, maybe I just want to add Lola what just said that about compliments. We have to learn to just say thank you when someone compliment us.
Yes.
Sometimes that we women just like, oh no, not me, no, I'm not that good, okay, not me. You know, it's like you give the strength, the power to your insecurity. So we have to learn just to say thank you.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
Receive the compliments and receive it when someone has something good about you to say.
Yes.
And let that help you heal.
Yeah.
I actually really thankful for JJ and Lola for helping me managing my insecurities, because like I said, for the longest time I always feel very insecure about my body, right? And I it's not like I don't like what I wear. Sometimes I do like what I wear, but I never really find a way of enhancing the looks, and during the I don't want to be in the show, actually. To be very honest, at first I was like, none of us wanted to be in the show. We were like so scared and afraid. But for me to be sitting beside JJ and Lola, who are very stylish, is like another pressure on me, But I think I'm thankful because I have a friend who really can tell, "Oh, Regina, it works on you, it doesn't work on you."
Yeah.
JJ always challenged me, "You should try it." I was like, JJ, in my whole life, I will never wear this kind of clothes. I will never tuck in my shirt. If you see all my pictures, I've never tucked in my shirts because I feel like if I tuck in my shirt, I will look very fat and ugly. And JJ was the one who challenged me, "You should." For me, learning and loving, accepting myself, it takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of good friends around me to tell me what works, doesn't work, and actually to try a different style, to see when I wake up in the mirror in the morning and look at the mirror and say, "Oh, I look well." At least I look well. It's not like you mentioned, it's not a model-shaped body. I can never be skinny. And who says skinny is a standard?
Why should we all be skinny?
Nothing wrong if you're skinny, nothing wrong if you're curvy, but it's a journey of, like Mia mentioned, accepting what is your weakness, what is your strength, and work through it. I cannot say I am 100% overcome my insecurities, but I learned. JJ is probably one of the experts, and you know she knows, and it really helps to have that kind of style and looks so that you feel confident. Like I look at the mirror now and I say, oh yeah, it's not bad. I look good.
But what I'm hearing out from like out of all the sharing that we had so far is that the self-acceptance, that the journey that we had all gone on, I think it's quite apparent that we have to unlearn and unhear certain things that we allow to internalize. And I think like, you know, this day and age, the media throws a lot of images towards us, and that helps shape and form our aesthetics or our benchmark of what beauty is. And I think that, you know, I do agree, you know, it's reality. Some women are really born really absolutely stunning and beautiful. And the thought media in the fashion industry or in the acting industry, you know, they in the film industry, I guess, entertainment, there's a certain beauty, but I think for the longest time it was limited to a certain type of good looks, and predominantly, honestly, it's based on, you know, Caucasian aesthetics and beauty
standards.
Standards, because obviously, you know, it's usually the more stronger, more powerful developing countries driving the trends, and which I think appreciation of one ethnicity's beauty is fantastic, but it's very important for us to actually unlearn that beauty has been boxed in, and we should also stop the comparison of us, because if I were to compare myself to you, I would be absolutely depressed, because and this is why the trend is so big with beauty augmentation. Women look at themselves and they're unsatisfied, and maybe I would you know, I always compliment Viola. I was like, oh, I love your beautiful, like, you know, it changes color, so it's gray, green, and if I was so
eyes,
gray, green eyes, right?
Hair,
hair or eyes.
Can you imagine if I really wanted like those beautiful? I would force myself to only walk around with colored contacts, which I think if you experiment once in a while just for fun as a trend that you want to try out, I think that's fine. But to actually feel, certain girls might feel like, oh, I'm incomplete if I don't use those special lenses to enhance my eyes, or I don't do my makeup up a certain way. And I feel like we're allowing that kind of comments to enslave us into what we think beauty should be. And I feel like once we unlearn all that stuff, it gives us better acceptance, and it allows us to be kinder and start being able to see beauty in other symmetries, in other ethnicity, in different skin colors, different eye shapes, you know, different lip shapes. And you know, it's not, because nowadays sometimes I actually find that so many women end up looking the same. You know, they because they augment their face to try to look like what
Kardashians. Like the Kardashians. Everyone looks like the Kardashians nowadays.
Actually, that is true.
Barbie. Barbie was
and I love what two mothers are saying. You know, like, because it is actually a big problem that haunts moms, right? Once your body changes, but we forget that the journey of motherhood is so beautiful. I have not gone there, but and I don't know if I might actually, for the first time in my life, I might start having insecurities later on, right? But it's these kinds of encouraging words and your courage to step up and say, like, I was insecure, but look at me now, and to let every woman, every mom knows that, no, this is just part of womanhood. This is just part of how our body will change. And I think as we age, if we don't unbox those things, it's very hard for us to age gracefully, because we will start being depressed about having wrinkles, having, you know, our bodies start changing shape, whether or not you end up having children. But then again, since today we're talking about image and style, right? I'm always a firm believer that in life, we only have one chance to make the first impression. But how do we, you know, have a polished image and understand that it is something that is beyond just style?
Meaning it's beyond just what you wear,
Yes.
right?
Or how your body looks like,
Yeah.
right?
Because it doesn't mean when you wear branded stuff, then it has a polished image in a way.
Yeah, so like, it has to go beyond that, and I would really love to hear Mia's input as a image trainer. Like, what would you normally tell someone whom you're helping them present themselves well, in a corporate setting?
Yeah, I think the most important thing that we have to be remembered is just when you look good, you feel good about yourself, right? It teaches me personally that if I know myself better, my body, my personality, so you can or we can choose clothes that suit my personality, that suit my skin color, that suit my body. So I can be the best version of myself, not the best version of Regina. Yeah.
Or
So-
the best version of the style that's in right now. right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you are not allowed to follow the fashion trends. Yes, you may, but just as inspiration,
Yeah.
But we have to know that what kind of my personality style. And start from your inner self actually. So when you look good, you will be good. You feel good about yourself and you will do good. You can respond positively to people, to all of your situation that day because you look good. And when you look good, you make yourself feel good.
I think for me, I used to struggle with confidence, right, as a teenager. And I found out really soon that if I wear clothes that make me feel like I'm well put together or it looks good together, I'm not saying branded at all. It was never about the brands. And it isn't. Like, you can look really bad wearing brands if you don't put them back together well.
Yeah, that's true.
But I realized that when I was putting clothes together nicely, and I had this friend in school that I befriended, and she was like super stylish, and then she showed me what looks good on me. And then I started dressing and I could feel like, wow, this makes me feel so confident. It makes me feel like even I might not be confident about my body, at least I know that when I wear this, I look a certain kind of good, right? So I would feel more confident. So in a way, I'm not sure if I masked my insecurities, but maybe I overcame a bit of it because I realized if I wear clothes that actually suit me, and that reflect my personality. I used to like colorful and whatever. Then I could actually gain a certain amount of confidence when I came into a place, and I would get certain reactions, which would then even boost my confidence more, right?
Yeah. I think the point is why you have to be somebody else. Just why you have to wanna be if you can be your best, right?
I guess also, I know this might sound really silly or very basic. At the same time, on top of what you girls are saying is, I feel sometimes some very practical tips is you got to have good hygiene. I know it sounds so basic because we're, I love that all of you look so beautiful today and everyone smells good and everyone took care of themselves, right?
I wore fragrance.
And this is also smell good.
Yeah, that too. Thank you, Boja, for bringing out your wonderful food. But I think there's just something with waking up and preparing for your day, and you step out of the house, your hair is not greasy, your breath doesn't smell, your body doesn't smell, and I think this is basic 101. When I put my image coat hat on, there is still, because when you say it's an image, you still have to take care of yourself. And secondly, I think a second tip that it's very often not spoken on in taking care of your image is you need to take care of your health.
Yes.
And it's not, there are a lot of girls who say, oh, I need to diet, I need to go to the gym to look slim. No, I think you need to go to the gym to try to tone up your body, to make yourself feel stronger. It's actually very directly.
You do Pilates?
Yeah.
Yes,
I know I need to tone up. And not because I want to get skinny, because that's how I learned from JJ. It's like, Regina, you need to tone up. Not the skinny part is not the destination, or it's not the purpose.
Yes.
It's to make you stronger.
Stronger.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel weak because
Yeah.
I cannot really run for a long time.
Yes.
In terms of health, I'm quite weak actually. So
Yeah.
it's more like toning up the stamina.
Yeah, and actually, having good health does a lot of things for image. It's like when you have a stronger core, your posture is better.
Yeah.
You sit up straight, you actually look slimmer when you have better posture.
And you look more confident.
You look more confident.
And you automatically do feel more confident.
Yeah.
It's really odd. That's something I learned. It's that when you if you don't have the core strength to hold up your body all the time, you slouch a lot, right? And that is actually, it doesn't just look.
Our body language is closed, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't just look not confident.
Yeah.
It also makes you feel not confident.
Yeah.
The moment, I worked a lot on my posture the last 2 years
me
because
too.
it's my issue.
Yeah.
So the moment I felt like, oh, my core just lifts me up because I've worked on that.
Yeah.
Really,
yeah, and it
right?
opens up your shoulders.
Automatically, I feel more confident. Even though I'm not aware of it.
Just having good posture, being healthier, actually
paying attention to details,
Yeah,
right?
details, and it really helps your complexion too. A lot of people in the past, they'd be like, oh, hey, what skincare do you use? And they expect me to come with some extreme expensive list of La Mer, no. And I said, no, my skincare regime is actually very simple, but actually it's simple because yes, I'm blessed with good genes, but it's also because I'm healthy.
Yes.
And I keep my diet relatively healthy. I mean, I do indulge, but and people forget that. These are two very unspoken but very practical tips. And I love what Mia said just now too, is learning what works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what would work on Viola will never work on me because she's blonde and she's so much taller, and I think it's really knowing what fits you. I think Viola's beautiful. I think every one of us are beautiful a different way.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
But because you're so different from me, because we have 3 Asians and our beauty are more similar, and so maybe that's why there is more intrigue when an Asian person looks like a Caucasian person, just like the same way. A Caucasian person will look at an Asian and be like, oh, you guys
She
are
looks so
exotic.
exotic.
Yeah.
Or like Regina with her bright red lips and that geometric hair that I could never have because it just doesn't fall that way, right? I'll never look like you, but I love looking at you.
Yeah, and it's true. A lot of people used to ask me, why do you put makeup at home when you work from home? I said, I want to look presentable, even it's only for myself.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, right?
I agree
it's
with
because
that.
Imagine if you wake up, you're already starting to work from home and you're wearing your pajamas the whole day, you don't feel like working. And that's the
Yes.
first tips that I got when I started working from home. Do put an effort and dress up, at least put on lipstick, bright red lipsticks and eyeliner, is because really lift your moods up. And when people look at you, they really think you're working. And you feel like you are working because you dress up.
Because the keyword is working, right?
Working.
from home. The
It's not
keyword
like
is working.
sleeping at home.
Yeah.
But even I was not necessarily working from home.
but you also-
during this last year, I actually sometimes tried to be really intentional with what I was wearing at home because I realized I was wearing the sweatpants too often or like ugly shirts, and I thought I have so many beautiful things in my wardrobe, they don't get used, and if I would wear them I would feel very special.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would put on really nice clothes at home, and then I would put on some makeup, maybe not too thick, but just a little bit, and I would put on some earrings, and then and my wedding ring, which I would usually take off if I'm not going out, and then my kids would ask me, "Where are you going, Mommy?" And I'm like, I'm just being at home. But also, having beautiful clothes at home is not for other people.
Yes, for
I mean,
for
it's
us.
nice that other people can enjoy looking at me when I wear something nice. But those things are not reserved for special. It doesn't have to be reserved for special
Yes.
days.
Yeah.
I actually put it on myself, and it makes me feel like makes me feel good about myself no matter where I am, and it gives me a confidence boost, even though nobody might see it. But it does that to our own little inner, our own little heart.
So my home is my stage.
And I love like how we are all agreeing on this, because I think like there's also power in dressing appropriately for the occasion.
Yes.
Because like even though we're saying now we're talking in the context of dressing up at home because this is the situation that we're in now, but it is an appropriate thing to dress up as, and you feel more engaged with the situation, you feel more engaged with what you do. And I think when we're also dressed appropriately, it also helps us have better confidence in articulating and communicating ourselves. Because I think a third part of other the first two very practical points is also communication, learning how to actually communicate well with others. And I think once we start working on wanting and desiring to communicate and present ourselves well, we start also practicing learning the different etiquettes. Because I think knowing that is very important. It's part of your image. Because it's the impression you leave other people.
The point is that speaking about appearance, that suit your personality, your skin color, your body, we have to remember also that be yourself, but be mindful.
Be mindful, yes.
Be yourself, but be mindful. It's talking about how you have a manner.
Yes, manners.
In a social setting. You have an etiquette, how to behave, because you have to be mindful of others.
So if your parents never told you, or if your surrounding has never taught you how to, how to have this etiquette, how to eat, how to talk to people, how can you learn that later on?
Yeah, I think the thing that we have to do is investing yourself, good grooming, be healthy, but we have to remember also investing yourself in knowledge. How to learn something that, for example, like how to eat in a Western restaurant, in a fine dining restaurant, not for only to impress someone else, but actually for us.
I totally agree on that point, because as I was saying, when you learn to communicate and then you go into etiquette, and one thing that as the world is globalizing today, I think it's very important for people to actually make that effort to learn, or maybe that's when I image coach someone, I would put that into a focus. I want to understand who are the people that you deal with on a daily basis, because it is very important. There are certain things that you do in certain cultures, even within the Asian cultures. It could be okay for the Chinese. It is absolutely rude for the Japanese or the Koreans. But whatever the Korean,
I had to learn so much about that.
And I'll just give a very simple example so that it makes more sense. It's like, for example, when I first went to JIS, I would have Western friends. They would order a rice bowl from the cafeteria, and you'd be eating chopsticks. And they would take the two chopsticks and they would stick it, after they're done, they stick it right in the middle of the bowl and they continue talking to you. I mean, I'm an international school kid, so I understand they don't understand the etiquette. But imagine today, if you're, with China being such an important country and rising in power, you're trying to do business with a Chinese person, and you do that with your rice bowl. Usually the Chinese people do that as an offering for the dead. When you, and so without understanding these cultural contexts, you're actually being absolutely insulting and not dressing.
Can I give you an example of the other way around?
Okay.
So it's absolutely okay, or it's even honoring to the chef if you slurp your noodles in Asian culture, right? Like noodle soup. Let me give an impression. That's how you eat noodle soup or noodles, and it's absolutely fine, right? My daughter has learned how to eat Asian noodles that way, and now she eats spaghetti that way. And for the past months, I've been trying to teach her, you eat spaghetti like this, then you lift them up, and you move them to your mouth, and you don't slurp, and you don't chew loud. Otherwise, it's really rude. It's super rude, and it looks like you look like a pig when you're eating because it's spaghetti with tomatoes. You can't do that. It just doesn't work, right? I mean, she makes it work, but it doesn't look very nice. But these are the things that we have to learn of each other. We don't have to learn them. I honestly think we don't have to learn them. But if we don't feel insecure going into certain situations, it's really good to know those etiquettes, right?
Yeah.
It gives you confidence. It gives you confidence that you're not offending anyone, you're not embarrassing yourself, you're leaving a good impression. Yeah. And I think those are important skills that we don't have to overthink that over and over.
It's like a life skill to learn, and also it's a form of respect. I'm not saying you need to like for me, I like that kind of things, and I help people with that kind of things. That's why I know all sorts of stuff like that. But I'm just saying, when you want to leave an impression, it's actually not so much I want to impress the person. When you're a person that respects somebody else's culture, it's just like, and also dressing up for the occasion. Yeah. Because sometimes I think people are so fixated with ourselves, we forget that people spend a lot of time, no matter how fancy or how casual the occasion is. It's like if Viola, it's like, oh, please come over my house. I would love to cook a meal for. I wouldn't show up, like, oh, it's going to my, buddy, girlfriend's house. I just show up cash. No, I would dress up a little because I respect her effort in cooking the meal and hosting us. And I think there's a lot of beauty and understanding and making ourselves a much more beautiful person when we carry ourselves, in such a manner.
Then how not to make it look quite vain? Yeah, because a lot of my friends are telling me that, Regina, you're only focusing on looks. Isn't that vain? Like, is looks only going to conquer your insecurities? I don't think so. I think it has a balance, right?
Yeah.
Because I cannot just have positive affirmation and saying you look beautiful, but I don't put efforts in my looks. I don't put efforts in the way I dress up. So it really, like you mentioned, is superficial. It's like a fine line, but we need to find a balance because I think both are important. Working on your inner self, meaning accepting yourself, understanding yourself, knowing people's shape are different, but at the same time you need to put efforts too in terms of your outward appearance, because believe me, again, I'm a true believer, if you look good, you feel good, because I have experienced that, but it's not gonna diminish my insecurities at the same time or straight away. But it helps me. I think that is the key word. It's helping you working through your insecurities in life.
Yeah, I think we have to know the difference, right, between looking good for building our confidence, or it's just a vanity. The difference is like when we put our identity into or on what we are wearing, or I put my identity on my bag. How much is my bag? How expensive? And then when you cannot have it, then you lose your identity.
You feel like you're nobody without this bag, or without this brand, or
But if you build your inner self first, and then Regina said before that we have to be balanced. How do you present yourself well? Because you reflecting your confidence. It's a balance. I think.
I love that, because it's like, again, media bombards us every day to keep up with the Jonases, and forcing you, because of commercialization, I understand, to drive us to chase every single trend. I think sometimes maybe the word is working on being the best attractive self. Your own best attractive self requires work. So I think like what the fine line is, I completely believe in having a polished image. And what that actually, I think personally, what a healthy way of having a polished image is actually, it's better to hone your own understanding of what is actually quality in a clothing. What is a good cut, in a shirt, for your body shape, and what is a well-made piece of item, and understanding what works for you and what's not. Because I think when you actually understand why this piece of item is worth this much, or what actually constitute quality, it actually also slowly develops our class.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people think like, oh, buying expensive things is what makes me look expensive. Unfortunately, that's not the case.
Yeah.
If you don't actually develop your class, there's a Chinese saying, you wear the dragon's robe, which is the emperor's robe. There are people that put on the emperor's robe but will never be the emperor. That's the actual definition as that, because they put on that robe, but they're just pretending, because they don't even understand what is so good about the emperor's robe other than it gives me stature. And there's the same thing with the different things that we use, and I think developing our understanding and honing the taste of what works for us, understanding what is quality, you would actually gradually have a more elegant presence.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that really don't feel worthy wearing good quality clothes, beautiful clothes. They don't actually feel like they deserve it in a way, like they don't think it's for them. And then they choose, even though they might have beautiful things in their wardrobe, they might opt for the jeans and the tee because that makes them feel more comfortable, because it feels more like them. And what if you wake up every morning and you wake up, I'm like, I'm a princess today, and I'm gonna dress that way because I know I'm someone special.
Yeah.
And I can wear that
Confidently.
big purple, pink, red, yellow, shiny dress because I can, because it feels like it's me.
Yeah.
So I feel like we can only dress as elegant and beautiful and valuable as we feel on the inside.
Yes. That's true.
Or you try to cover up, I think, or there are lots of us that try to cover up the unworthy inside with something very shiny on the outside, so nobody actually sees how dirty it is inside.
Wow, that is.
And I think there's both sides, right?
There's both.
There's so many different varieties of insecurities, and I just want to encourage our audience that you're special, you're wonderfully made.
Yes.
You are worth it to wear the most exquisite clothing. And if you have something very beautiful in your wardrobe, or it may be a bag that's really beautiful and special to you, or something that has been handed down to you, use it, wear it, because you're worth it.
Yeah.
And but if you feel like you're just covering up things on the inside that are not beautiful, that are not good, that you want to cover up, and you feel so unworthy inside, and you just put on this facade of beauty, then I really want to encourage you, go inside and work on it, because there's so much work you can do in yourself. And don't listen to the lies that you've been telling yourself your whole life, that you are not worth it because of something that maybe someone did to you, or something someone said to you out of envy or out of hate.
Yeah.
It's not your identity. Your identity is much bigger than that. And just start dressing the way you feel, you know?
I agree. I think the key word is don't cover it up. Don't use a clothing or a dress to cover up your insecurities. Like you say, for me, I'm comfortable wearing t-shirt and jeans and still rocking it good if I feel confidence on that day. I feel good, like I'm okay.
Yeah.
And I can also wear a very expensive clothing and feel like a crap, on that day. Just because it's not me, or like I still feel crap in this dress. I don't feel confident. So again, I think the keywords is so good. Like, don't cover it up with the clothing or the outward appearance. Wear everything that makes you comfortable and look good on you. And making you feel good too.
And in fact, if I want to add to that to the audience, is nowadays there is a lot of apps that forces you to augment your photos. I think a little bit of touch up, I think that is okay, but I have seen some extreme augmentation, or many girls would refuse to post any of their pictures without first editing them, without trying to make their body look slimmer, legs longer, everything. They fix so much
Eyes
about
more Bambi-like.
And they're so afraid of being seen just who you are. But actually, people, you would feel so much more loved and so much more confident
Yeah.
when your friends like your pictures, love you for just the way you are, just how you were made and born from your parents' womb. And you should find people in your ecosystem, in your social circle, that helps you embrace that. Not to encourage that we all need to, put on style or fashion a certain way so that we'll be accepted, so that we'll be liked by society.
Yeah.
It's more important to actually really like yourself from the inside, because that would radiate from the outside. And yes, looking attractive is fantastic, but we need to be very healthy in our how we see and look at our image.
Yeah.
If you're afraid that you have a photo on the internet that you're not going to like, and you're very conscious about that, that's going to actually enslave you big time. And don't stop letting media do that to you.
I think we women have to use our voice to empower another women, because I believe that, like I told you before, like lift as you climb.
Lift as you climb.
Lift as you climb.
Yes.
And we have to empower another women who have many insecurities, and maybe every day they have also to silence their lies, right?
Silence their lies,
Yeah.
So as we climb, we'll lift others up, because we may not be on top of the mountain yet.
Yes.
Who is?
Who is? But as
Nobody
we
is.
all climb, we'll lift each other's up. I think that was
Yes.
really good.
Woohoo!
Closing quote episode, right?
Thank you for your time again. I mean, this was fantastic.
Yes.
And, to our audience, I hope you enjoyed this time with us as we talk about why having a polished image is not vanity. I really hope that we have been able to encourage you to love yourself first and foremost from the inside, and that our little practical tips on how you can try to learn how to become the most attractive, best version of you and not of someone else. As always, we send you a lot of love and light. See you next time at the Powder Room.
And don't forget to leave us your comments below. We would really like to hear how you felt and what stood out for you while you were watching this. And if there's anything you want to ask us, please go ahead. And also don't forget to click the subscribe button. And also forward this to your friends. If you have a friend you think would benefit from this conversation and would maybe find healing in this, please forward. We love you. See you next time.
Bye.